day one of Big 12 Media Day. New is always exciting, and I kind of feel that in the air out here, especially this venue is better than what we had at the Pac-12 the last couple of years, more space to move around. And Brett Yormark continues to impress. Just he provides stability to this conference that we didn't really see Colorado have in the Pac-12.
Yeah, and has a lot of confidence. I mean, you listen to him talking like he's confident about what the Big 12 is, and I kind of told you he had this line today. He said, "There's never been a better time to be a member of the Big 12 conference." He said the same thing a year ago at the media day, but maybe it was true then, and maybe it's true today. But yeah, I think I like him as a commissioner because they're continually. From what it looks like, exploring ideas on revenue and like ways to do different things to bring in some money. And he seems to be an innovative guy that's going to do some things. I mean, he's talking about. They've got a deal with Microsoft now for the tablets, and he's talking about sponsorships to put on jerseys like they do in the NBA, things like that. And so I like this commissioner. I think Colorado made the right move for the stability.
You cannot like some of the new things about the new college football, but it's here and it's not going away. So to have, to your point, a commissioner that's willing to be on the forefront of revenue increasing opportunities, especially when you're clearly behind the Big Ten and the SEC, you have to be innovative, whereas maybe they don't have to in those two conferences.
Yeah, I mean, those two conferences can lean on just the football part of it, right? And those are the football parts of the country, and so is Big 12. But yeah, I think the Big 12 has to get more creative because they don't have the brands that they used to have. They don't have Texas, Oklahoma anymore. And you can talk about all the good teams in this conference, and it's true, but they're not Texas and Oklahoma brands. They're not Alabama, Ohio State, things like that. And so, yeah, you probably have to get a little more innovative, but I think they got the right commissioner to do it.
One of the things that's been a common theme out here has been parody. Yeah. Even the commissioner admitted that this is a league that features parody. There's going to be some cannibalization of the conference, like we saw at times with the Pac-12. And I think it's going to be hard for there to be a lot of teams getting into the college football playoff. But when you look at it on Saturday, it's going to be such an entertaining product. When I had to make my preseason media poll picks, it took me a long time to separate between a lot of these programs because some programs have more returning guys but an easier schedule, or vice versa. And you've got Utah kind of at the top, maybe Oklahoma State, and some other teams you could maybe make an argument to be up into that spot. But generally, there's not a whole lot separating these programs, whereas many years in the Pac-12, it was USC, Oregon, Utah, and kind of the rest of the group, and how that was going to shake out. So that feels different out here.
Yeah, for sure, because I originally had Utah in my preseason poll, and admittedly, I did that before really doing a deep dive because it was one of those things where it was like, oh, this is due tomorrow, and I put it together. I still might put Utah, but I might actually switch to Oklahoma State. I think that they're as much as they have coming back, they got the best running back in the country. They got like 10 starters back on both sides of the ball. Both teams are similar. Their head coach is in their 20th year, so they have that stability. But K-State's up there, Kansas is up there, and you could make an argument for Arizona. I don't because they've got the new head coach, but you got to love their quarterback and receiver situation. I think there's a lot of sneaky teams that people don't talk about in the title race that could be really good, like Colorado, like Texas Tech, UCF, teams that are they're going to be good, but they may not be conference title good, but they can win 7-8 games.
Yeah. We didn't get Colorado today. They're going to go tomorrow, Coach Prime, as well as 4 players. So we're going to have a ton more content there. Was there any main takeaways you had from the 8 coaches that spoke today? We did see Mike Gundy take the stage, 20th year as the head coach there. Yeah. I think Kyle Willingham has been at Utah for 20 years as well. So some long-tenured coaches, and I think that stability is partly why those programs are ranked pretty highly. Any takeaways from what those coaches said?
Yeah, not really. Other than they're both very confident in what they have, and they know their programs, and I like listening to them because they've been there so long that nothing really phases them. Like they just know their program so well. And actually, it was interesting with Gundy because I got to talk to him briefly at Big 12 Media Day last year, and then Oklahoma State got me on the phone with him for a few minutes when Colorado made the jump. And so I went up to him today and said, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me." He goes, "Yeah, I remember you." And so we chatted for a few minutes, and I know he's got that reputation. You see some of the viral videos about in the conversations I've had with him. Super nice guy. I enjoy talking to him, and he's just confident, and he just knows his team, and same with Kyle Whittingham. And so those teams are always going to be good, I think, as long as those two guys are there. And then the other coaches, there's some good coaches in this conference. I mean, Joey McGuire at Texas Tech is, I think, an underrated coach. You got Chris Kleiman at Kansas State. Matt Campbell at Iowa State is a pretty good coach, and that's another one of those teams I would say is in that tier where it's like they could be pretty good. And so I think there's just a lot of good coaches. And I'm going to throw a video on YouTube, but I did talk to a Texas Tech player to get some food tips for Lubbock when Buff fans go down there. And I chatted with all four of them briefly, and then I put one on video, but they all mentioned a barbecue place down there. I can't remember the name, but that's why I'm not going to say it. But it's on the video I'm going to throw up there. But they were raving. They said the food options in Lubbock are really good. And so that was one of my other takeaways, is that Buff fans will eat well in Lubbock if they make that trip.
Speaking of food, I joked on X that the breakfast here at Media Day was mid at best. I don't know. I think you could get a better breakfast at Holiday Inn Express, but the lunch was pretty solid. What would you think?
I would agree with that. I don't think either meal will be like, wow, that's amazing. But, reporters like to complain about free food, right? So I guess we're going to complain about free food. But no, you can't complain too much when it's free. The breakfast was mid, but the lunch pretty solid.
But the venue in general, A+ for me. This is such a better setup than we had. Mentioned that Colorado didn't go today, but they were still a topic. There were multiple coaches that were asked about Colorado. They didn't throw any bulletin board material out there, so nothing is personal yet out here. Tomorrow is going to be crazy. And we cover Colorado, so we're going to have to be, kind of throwing our elbows in there a little bit.
Be on our toes tomorrow, I think. And we were talking earlier today that when we've gone, like I went to Big 12 last year, and the media throng around Texas and Oklahoma was huge. And when we've gone to Pac-12 media day, USC and UCLA, it's like, it's fighting, to get in there to ask a question. There's really nobody here like that with this conference. It goes back to what I'm talking about, the marquee name, except for Colorado. Today there was nobody. There wasn't the media throng that was like, wow, that's a lot. Tomorrow it's going to be Colorado, and I don't think anybody else is like that. And so I think they're the team right now that everybody's going to want to talk to. And they were talked about today. And I will say I did talk to Cincinnati's punter, Mason Fletcher, who's from Australia, and was really upset that Mark Vassett's not here today because they're friends. They went through Pro Kick Australia together, and he hasn't seen him since they've been in the U.S. Wow. And so he was really bummed that and he's got this thick Australian accent, and he goes, I think Mark's is thicker than mine. I'm like, now yours is pretty good, though. So you got to love the Australian punters.
Yeah, hopefully there's some creative questions thrown at Mark Vassett tomorrow out here at Media Day. But we'll be back tomorrow as we break down what Colorado had to say at Big 12 Media Days.